Welcome to episode 32 of the 200 movie challenge. So every
32.
time I say the number, I think I give a little giggle now. I just can't believe it's gotten this high. I mean, granted, I know we skipped some weeks. It would have been hilarious if somehow we got to 52. But still, 32. 32
A
episodes.
lot.
It is a lot. We are back to
A
normal
lot.
this week, and by that I mean we have four films, only four films to talk about instead of, when we miss a week,
Got
we got
it.
to talk about 8 or 9 or 10, which we still do. We power through this. We do it for you. We do it for us. Who are we kidding? We're doing this for us. No one's listening anyways. But Soto, for the very first
Yes,
time,
Chad.
for the very first time, we have multiple animated movies. Not just one, not
Wow,
even just
really?
two, three. We're going to be talking about three animated movies on today's episode, which is a
Wow.
first, and one that you went to see in theaters. But before we get to
Sure.
all our animated movies, you saw a non-animated movie. You had to ruin this streak. No.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
so,
I did.
Masato,
I
you,
did.
you get movie 151. 151. Why don't you tell us about the first movie you saw, and why'd you choose this one?
So, the first movie that I saw this week, I believe it's an A24 film. It was a movie called Warfare. Now, this movie was recommended to me by a good friend of mine, and I tend to be. I've said this on a few different movies I've watched this year that if somebody recommends me a movie, I tend to kind of see that as like, okay, there's maybe the universe wants me to see this movie. And so, and if it's free, and my friend knew the rules of the 200 movie challenge, and his text to me was, Warfare is available. It's streaming on HBO Max, so you have no fucking excuse to not watch this movie. He's like, so that's my gauntlet I'm throwing down. And I said, okay. Um, I've seen a lot of war movies um in my life. Obviously, the important ones like Saving Private Ryan and Apocalypse Now, all those ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I only named two. Um
All of them. All of them. No.
all, all of the two movies that I just named. Uh so it starts off, it follows a group of Navy SEALs in Iraq, and apparently this is based on a true story. And it's very upfront with saying like this is just an account using the memories of the soldiers that were there. I think it took place around 2006, if I'm not mistaken. So it's directed. So it has a director, and then it has a co-director. The co-director is actually like a military advisor. So there's a lot of just sort of, I guess there's like a realistic feel to it. So it starts off and they're doing their thing in Iraq, and um I guess they're looking for insurgents. I'm not sure. It's not really clear, but there's a lot of jargon that they're using. But I didn't feel lost, if that makes sense. I kind of was like, okay, yep, I get it. This is pretty gritty, pretty realistic, and for a lot of the movie, not a lot of it, but for the beginning part of the movie, not really a lot is happening. It's kind of very realistic. It wasn't boring. It was still kind of interesting to watch as they hunker down into really somebody's house because they had to just commandeer somebody's residence because they thought that maybe they had some insurgents in there, from what I gathered. And so they're kind of waiting for like their next orders. But they're sort of starting to see as they look out their windows, they're starting to kind of see like activity, right? And the full might of the United States military is on display here, and it's not done in a way um, that I feel sensationalizes it or makes it like seem really cool. It's just done realistically. So, they have, people looking up in satellites or whatever, and they can tell like where people are moving, and they're talking to each other, and just kind of seeing like the activity slowly build around their position. And that tension kind of rises, and you're like, okay, where is this going to go? There's a guy who's manning a sniper rifle position inside the house, and he's kind of looking and writing things down and making sure that they're just not going to be in a situation where they're all of a sudden going to be ambushed. And so that's the lead up to the movie, to the really the main events of this movie that happen. And without spoiling anything, I will say that the situation escalates dramatically, and then it just becomes chaos and a fucking nightmare. And you start seeing how people react in these situations, these war situations, violent situations. You see guys trying to hold it together mentally while, quite honestly, going through shock, not just from injuries, but just from being in a situation where your life is on the fucking line. And it was incredibly intense. I thought really incredibly well done. And it kind of just did a really good job of, I know you like this in movies where, there's really only one location, and a story unfolds based off that location, and the way that they navigate through the challenges they have, the extreme violence that occurs to them, everything they have to do, all that is just so well done. But again, very intense. And when I texted my buddy afterwards, because I watched this movie at 9 o'clock in the morning, I
And
texted him afterwards. I just watched Warfare. And he was like, at 9 o'clock in the morning, he's like, what the fuck? Because it's like super intense war movie to watch like first thing in the morning. I mean, it wasn't really first thing because I'd been up since like 7. Um, and I was just having my coffee. When Sarah does her day shifts, it's really easy for me to get a morning movie in because I don't have to do anything. And yeah, so that was how I spent my Saturday morning, was just watching a very intense war movie with lots of violence and terrible situations. But done really well. I don't know if I'll ever see this movie again. So it's one of those where you can respect what you saw. It was really great. It was cool. But I don't know if I'd ever see it again. I don't. It was very, very intense. And I'm glad the situation was resolved. I mean, if it's on, I don't know when it would be on. I'd probably watch it, but I don't know. Like it's one of those movies where it's just, again, you know that you're watching something that's really high quality, and really well directed and great cinematography, and you could tell that it's like authentic is the word that I keep like going through my mind. It's just very authentic and very real. But I will probably never watch it again.
that's the case with a lot of war movies. I mean, I know you only named 2, but
Did I?
joking
I did.
aside, it's like, you know, going back, talking about one of you two, like Saving Private Ryan. I believe I've only
Yeah.
saw that movie once, and it's not that it
Mhm.
was a bad movie. It's just it was powerful enough. A lot of things last, with me, and it was a great movie. It's just it is so tough to watch those kind of movies again and again. Especially what happens, especially at 9 in the morning. You must have been ready, intense for the rest of your day on Saturday, Soto. I mean, I know you went to go see a second film, which we'll talk about
Then I
later,
thought second movie.
but
Yeah, I was ready. I was amped up.
it's a way. Who needs morning coffee? You just watch Warfare. But no, like to
Yeah.
what you said, why I like certain things taking place in one area, because you have to work more on the characters, because you need to understand their mentality, and not a lot of war movies do that. Saving Private Ryan did. It kind of had a little of everything. I know it's a little Hollywood eyes, but the fact that Matt Damon, his character lost his brothers, and he still wants to fight with the brothers. So it's just the mentality of the soldiers is what makes it. So yeah, you're right. This probably would be right up my alley. But I'm not the one that saw it, Soto. You were. And as we
I did.
ask ourselves every time when we kind of get to the end of talking about a movie and we're looking through
Mhm.
the list, because now this is, I'm going to set your 77th movie, lucky number 7 here. Where does Warfare go on Soto's list of enjoyment?
It's a top 20 movie for me. That's for sure. Um, really well done. I enjoyed it. Uh, but I enjoyed other movies more than I enjoyed that one. It's all about enjoyment here at the 200 movie challenge, as we talk about.
Well, it's your list.
Um,
You can do whatever you want to.
it is also my list, and I will do whatever I want. I think that from an impact standpoint, I would probably say that I'm going to go ahead and say that this is number 20 for me this year.
Ooh. So
Hmm.
right under Nightcrawler and now above Ballerina.
Yeah, I think that that's subject to change. Again, this is our list. We do whatever we want. We are bound by no one. We are beholden to no listeners. So yes, I may change, but for right now, because again, it feels like a top 20 movie now that we're getting into this. Now that our lists are starting to become behemoths,
Mm-hmm.
I could be like, okay, no, this feels like a top 20 movie. Is it number 20? I don't know. I mean, again, it's the big factor is will I ever see this again? I don't know. I might see Nightcrawler again. I definitely liked Unhinged. The Menu might fall if I think about the Menu. I mean, I like the Menu, but it was kind of a one-trick pony for me. Although it was kind of fucked up. But for now, Warfare will be at number 20.
All right. And nothing wrong with that. A top 20 movie to start off your weekend. It's
Yeah.
9 a.m. But
9 in the morning. Yeah. Oh my God. That's uh,
yeah, put
a
that in your
hell of
cup
a
of
double
coffee.
feature on Saturday. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll get to your second movie in a second. Or
Hmm.
maybe a few minutes. Let me tell you about the first movie I saw. And I've said this quite a few times. A lot of times when I'm editing or trying to put things together, sometimes it takes a little time to upload, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, I can do something else while I'm doing this, waiting. And as usual, Soto, because remember, it's no Tubi September. I am not turning on Tubi. I am not looking at anything on Tubi. I don't care if it's a good movie. I'm just not even going that direction. But I went to Disney Plus, and because that's where me and you go when we just kind of want something
Mhm.
happy, lighthearted, maybe a
Yeah.
little fun. Unless we go Star Wars, then maybe it's not as fun. So I'm scrolling. I'm like, all right,
Oh,
what haven't I seen? Because I think last week I saw Inside Out 2 or the week before's, and so I'm like, all right, what's something I haven't seen or something I really want to see? And on the screen pops up and staring me right in the face. Ralph Breaks the Internet. Now, Soto, I loved the Wreck-It Ralph, the 2012 Pixar film Wreck-It Ralph.
is
I
that
thought
what
it
it
was
is? It's a sequel to
It's a
Wreck-It
sequel
Ralph.
to
That
Wreck.
sounded
It's a sequel to Wreck-It Ralph. And for those who don't remember Wreck-It Ralph, real quick, yeah, it's basically like the arcade video game characters are come to life. They have their own little world. Wreck-It Ralph is kind of like the bad guy. Yada
familiar.
yada yada. He helps you. But basically, I liked it because yes, while those games are original, they put in a lot of Easter egg, a lot of video game characters as like these quick side characters, and it was hilarious. If you love video gaming at all, you will love Wreck-It Ralph. It was a great story, and I'm like, all right, I like the first one. I have no problem turning on the second one, and yes, it's called Ralph Breaks the Internet. And all the voices return. We also have Gadot, Wonder Woman in this as well.
Mhm.
But
Oh God.
basically, the real quick story is the arcade added Wi-Fi to the arcade, and yes, they finally get on the internet. And as we well, no, not for gaming. He just is adding kind of Wi-Fi, in the building. And anyhow, the little girl Penelope, who the main one that Wreck-It Ralph is trying to save, the racer from Sugar Rush, her arcade game, like the steering wheel, actually breaks off. Like an actual human accidentally breaks, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," blah blah blah. And so he's looking online, and he sees like he can get it on eBay for like a few $100. And he's like, "Oh, that ain't worth it." He's like, "This game doesn't give me that much money in like a year." So they're getting ready to turn off the game, and obviously now the whole thing is they sneak into Wi-Fi, the router, and get blasted into the
Mhm.
internet because they want to go get this piece and somehow send it so her game can come alive. So we've done countless talks, countless
Mm.
things about hate love relationship with the internet and stuff like that, and I'm kind of dying
Yes.
laughing, and just because obviously everything going on the internet, it's almost like our little avatars, like what we would look at. But you see, like a YouTube, you see eBay, and that's why I think I loved Wreck-It Ralph and this. They're not using the cheesy like they will on some major parts of it, just because they don't want to badmouth it. But a lot of it, like Google and stuff like that, and so they're going to like the Google desk to ask, like where can I find, and you know how Google will try and finish it off, and this little guy's like, where can you find the restaurants near me? Where can you find this? Like, almost like rattling off. I'm like, slow down. I haven't even finished my question yet. All of a sudden they turn around and there's a guy with like a pop-up ad. Hey, press this, you know, you can win $10,000, blah, 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 blah. So it's everything we hate about the internet, but made in a very cartoonish character way that I was just laughing. But yes, it's about their journey. They see this thing like, hey, if you can get this car from this game, you can get $40,000 and blah, 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 whatever. Because he didn't know how eBay worked. Ralph didn't. So he's just making up. He's just like, I think you just need to say the highest number. So someone else is buying it. And then he's like, $1,002 and $1,500. And then him and Penelope are just laughing like 10,000. So the bid got up to like $32,000. And so they're like, well, you have to pay. I don't know how they're going to charge a cartoon character, but you know, let's not think about plot points when it comes to Pixar. And yes, they're trying to get in-game currency here to pay it off and get the piece back. And obviously they go on mindless adventures, but it's also, she sees like this online racing game because she is a racer, and she falls in love with it because it's like, it's more, think about what arcades games are. You know, she's like, there's only 3 laps. I do the same 3 tracks every time. I want more. And now she's in this internet car game where it's almost like free roam, which, you know, if you think about Grand Theft Auto, stuff like that. And so it's the idea that she wants to stay now in this world because, you know, she's like, I love it here. This is me. This is chaos. Because Soto, there's red barrels, there's explosions. This would be a racing game for you. And so it's also the idea of, you know, he's like, no, you need to come back. You know, we're best friends. And it's almost like, it's okay to let your friends go and follow their dreams. You know, it's almost in that's kind of the important part of the story. It's here for Ralph because he's always every day picks her up. They go drink root beer at Tapper and somehow get AKA drunk, which was, I love Tapper. So just seeing that as a reference made me happy, but it was enjoyable. You know, again, I loved Wreck-It Ralph, and I did love this. I enjoyed it. I laughed. Anyone who hates the internet will fucking laugh at this film, Soto, just because it's just those small Easter egg scenes. You're like, I do hate these pop-up ads. You know, why do they do this? And it's like, you find out why they're doing it because, you know, it's like their jobs and this whole, you know, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for, conundrum and stuff like that. So I don't know. It was enjoyable. So it's Pixar. It's very hard for Pixar to do a bad movie. You know, you always find something enjoyable. You always find something heartwarming. And that's kind of what I need. I'm like, I needed something to make me happy, you know? And yeah, there is some cheesy parts. But overall, Soto, it was fun. So yes, I don't know. Did you ever see Wreck-It Ralph? I know this came out, I think after you love Blockbuster.
I think I did. I don't know. I mean, when you talk about a movie where they go to the internet, my mind already goes to being like, you know, the internet's like a dark place, right? Like, I mean, yes, there are funny pop-up ads and things like that, but there is like, the internet is not a happy place. And there are definitely adult things that happen on the internet. And I know that Pixar would never obviously cross that to keep it light and funny as a kids movie ultimately. But I think I saw Wreck-It Ralph and I think I just like forgot about it. No, it's one of those movies where I'm like, oh yeah, that was kind of cool. And then I never saw it again or thought about it again. I know I saw it though. Okay. In a drunken state, I'm sure.
Well,
it's per usual.
The one thing I do love is because going how they try to make this money now because they failed to get the car is Ralph goes on this like demolishing spree and he learns about viral videos. Now I don't know, it's not called TikTok. They can't call it TikTok. I forget what they kind of call it in this one, but he somehow goes trending. And so there's someone that leads like the whole thing and she's like, oh, look what's trending up, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, oh, I can make money off of this. And she's like, oh, you're not trending anymore. And then he's like, oh. And then he's like, well, what's trending now? And she's like, at this moment, like goats, cat videos. And he's like, I'm going to make every trend. So it's like people in the real world, like, do you remember that arcade game, Ralph? And it's like his face over a goat. So it's like almost like it got set, like he made a comeback in the real world. And now he is trending because no one knows where these videos are coming from, obviously. And everything is just Wreck-It Ralph. Like cooking things. He's just like, and you put this in and then you make burnt pie. He has a Bob Ross. He's like, we're just going to make happy little trees and the whole, you know, so everything he does is like what's viral and, you know, hot in the moment. And again, making fun of basically found what's trending because yeah,
Mhm.
what's trending today, tomorrow, and like, well, who cares? That was yesterday, dude. No one cares. So again, you're right. It's it cannot go to the dark places of the internet. They will not send those characters there. I mean, like I said, the darkest was they get into that racing game where there's death and explosions and people are chasing them down, which is actually the place she wants to be. So, but you are
Mhm.
100% correct. This is not they're not going to go there. This is a movie for children and a movie just we want to enjoy it. So, uh, but
Fair, fair.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta have some lightheartedness. This isn't like something dark and we're like, oh shit.
The
Uh,
internet, we're
yeah,
on the internet right now, Chad. It can be dark here.
it can be. So where do I rank this in my enjoyment list? Um,
Mm, yeah.
so again, I
Yeah.
did enjoy this. Definitely in the top half. I don't think it's in my top 20 though. I, all right. I'm in an area, and I think this is good for now. I'm getting close to
I'm in
movie
an
80, so
area.
well, no, because I'm looking, I'm like, this feels right. Does it go above this? It could, but so I'm getting close to movie 80, so basically 80 movies total. I know I'm gonna probably
Yeah.
sit down and do rework. I'm not there yet, but for right now, for Ralph Breaks the Internet, I'm feeling number 24. It's gonna go right above Alita, Battle Angel, and kind of underneath Tomb Raider. I kind of
Okay.
like I said I enjoyed it. I like the last Pixar movie like Inside Out 2 is higher up, and I think that just had more of a emotional feel to it. Something we can
Better
really
than Thunderbolts. Interesting.
yeah, like Thunderbolts is good. Just they screwed up the villain, but I love the team, and I can't wait to see where the team goes. But the Sentry villain, there was something off, and like I said, if you ever see it, I want to talk
Wait,
about it.
Sentry is the villain in
You
in
didn't know that?
in Thunderbolts?
Oh, okay.
He's like stronger than the Hulk.
Yep. All right, so I'm not gonna say more.
He's
So
like he's like he's like fucking one of the strongest people in the fucking
oh,
Marvel universe. He's probably the strongest universe
he is.
person in the Marvel universe.
So see Thunderbolts. I don't want to say more. Like, and I when I say weak, just no. You are correct. Strong, and he is portrayed that way. I think it was just the way, and the way it started was shocking, and like I'm in it. But then it was basically I don't want to say the last third, but like almost like what ends up being the final battle. There was just something off. And I don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil it for you because I do think you should see Thunderbolts. Um, it is good, and like I said, it is a Ralph Breaks the Internet. Yeah, and this could change. This 20 section could change a little bit. But I said in my Thunderbolts, I love the grouping, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, though they didn't have the chemistry yet. Who knows where they can
Mhm.
go? I just
Mhm.
feel that character Sentry could have been portrayed differently and maybe will because I don't know what's going to happen obviously with Doomsday and everything going down. We know these villains, there's a bigger plan for them. So just as a start, something felt off. I don't want to say it was bad. I don't want to say it was good, and that's why Thunderbolts got a little lower because I did. I loved this group, and I think just the Misfits. I'm like, okay, I can see where this is going. I want to see where they go next. So don't get me wrong. See Thunderbolts, especially if you want to see Avengers Doomsday and leading up to that. But yes, Sentry is in this, and I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil anything. But Ralph Breaks the Internet, top 25 movie right above Alita at the moment. Could go down once I sit on it, but I just kind of saw it recently, and like I said, I think it's because I had a lot of love for Wreck-It Ralph and him and Penelope, just their chemistry, their character. I mean, I say chemistry; they're just video game characters, but it was good. And John C. Riley is, and I love Sarah Silverman, so
Yeah. All right.
yeah. So yes,
25. That's great.
yeah, it's where I'm at right now. But Soto, you started your day 9 a.m. war movie intensified. You're
Yeah.
ready to go.
Very much.
And
Yeah.
then sometime in the afternoon, you went to the theater. This is our third theater movie we
Indeed.
get to talk about. So let go ahead. So I'm going to give you the floor. I know why you saw this. Just let's talk about the reason behind a lot of this.
Yeah, so the movie that I saw was Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. And before I get into that, anime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody recently, I was telling them about how I went to, because I drove an hour and a half to go see this. Well, actually, an hour. drove down Massachusetts because to meet another good friend of mine who wanted to see this movie. And somebody was, and I was talking about going down there and everything, and everyone's like, "Oh, you went to the movies? What'd you see? Oh, The Conjuring." And I looked at that person and I was like, "Yes, yes, I did." Because explaining to a random adult that I still watch cartoons was, like you talk to certain people in your life, and there's certain levels to like what you're comfortable with and the mask that we wear, and I felt like it was none of their business that I was watching anime, but I did watch an anime, and I watched an anime movie that is right now I think the highest grossing anime movie ever in the United States. And just to give you a little bit of background on Demon Slayer and the phenomenon of Demon Slayer is that this really broke out big. Well, the first movie came out during the pandemic. So it was Demon Slayer Mugen Train, and it had never really been done in such a way. And I'll get to the story and what it's about, like a brief overview, but it had never been done in a way where like most anime series would, especially in the early 2000s and before that, you would get an anime series, you'd watch it, 26 episodes, and then that'd be it. If they ran out of the manga, which is the source material, you may never hear from it again. It was pretty much like the Japanese had, I don't know, such a short attention span, probably shorter than Americans at the time. And they were like, they didn't have the framework of seasons, right? Because in the United States, things will, like Stranger Things or any of the show, we're so used to being like, okay, it's going to have a season, then there's going to be a break, and then it's going to come back again. We're used to that as Americans, and we look forward to it. But in Japan, that wasn't the case. But with the first Demon Slayer movie that was during the pandemic, that continued the story in the series in a movie. So you would have to know the series before you watch the movie. Otherwise, you would be lost in the middle of the story. And it was a huge hit. Broke all sorts of records in Japan. And then when it came out in the United States, it broke a bunch of records too. The premise of Demon Slayer is that they live in a world, I think it's, maybe like 1800s Japan kind of a vibe. It's not exactly ancient, but they live in a world where demons are around. And, if you get bitten or eaten by a demon, it's definitely an issue. And so the main character's family gets completely slaughtered. And his sister turns into a demon. And he basically is left with the option of being like, okay, well, my sister's a demon. I guess I've got to kill her. And so he runs into another demon slayer, and he begs the demon slayer not to kill his sister, and that he'll somehow find a way to cure her. And that's the story. And he becomes part of the Demon Slayer Corps, which have, like, demons can only be killed if you cut their heads off. So you have to learn, how to use a katana and everything. And so the whole story is the story of Tanjiro trying to find a cure for his sister, so she's no longer a demon. And she doesn't exhibit, outside of like the fact she doesn't talk and she's kind of catatonic, she doesn't eat people. And he carries her around in like this wooden backpack, and it's, it's a thing. And so the whole story is like, he's like, I'm going to try to find a way to cure her and everything like that. And so Demon Slayer Infinity Castle is the climactic story arc for Demon Slayer. Like, it's ending after, like, so there's going to be 3 movies for Infinity Castle, and I've watched the first one. It's going to end. The manga has been over, but because it's been such a huge global phenomenon, and such a huge hit, they split up the last arc, and so it's going to be a thing. But from an animation standpoint, my God, they put so much money into this shit. Like the fight scenes, the way they're animated are like top of the line, ridiculous shit. Like, so much money's put into it. Like, we talk about hand drawn animation all the time, and this has some, like, most hand drawn animation these days has a little bit of CG in it. Even anime currently that's airing on TV can sometimes have a little bit of CG augmentation, but you're talking about straight up banger hand drawn animation. This shit was fucking nuts. And it was 2.5 hours, by the way. And it was like from Jump Street, fucking fights, just showdowns, fights, flashbacks, fucking emotions, gravitas, shit that was calling back to like the other movie in Mugen Train. I mean, this shit was fucking absolutely out of control. And, you know, my only complaint was that it fucking clearly is not over. Like it only covered like a few fights, and then obviously, you know, it's gonna I have to wait for a couple years until I see the next one. Even though Sarah's already read the manga and she knows exactly how it ends, I have to wait. But overall, this was like, whew, this shit was fucking fire, man. If you are a fan of anime, if you are a fan of Demon Slayer, you don't need me to fucking tell you to watch Demon Slayer. This is already one of the biggest anime around. It has a huge following. Anime Boston a couple years ago, my niece cosplayed as Nezuko. My niece is like 6, 7 years old at the time, so she was perfect because Nezuko is kind of like a little like shorter demon. And people were giving her compliments because they cosplayed as her and everything. So, yeah, just a really great time. Awesome theater too. Another theater that I went to, and I'm like, I got a fucking table, like at my own fucking seat that I can
Yeah.
recline. Like,
That's great, isn't it?
dude, like my buddy brought in all sorts of like candy, like from outside and shit. And, you know, we had like Snickers and shit, like in the cup holders, like we had waters, we had like a whole fucking spread in our little kind of side table. And I just reclined and sat back, and I always sit middle when I go to the movies.
Same.
And you know, it has like a back to it, like so there's nobody behind me. I mean, there is, but like there's like a big wall, so not really. Like I'm not seeing over anybody. Like I'm barely aware that people are in the movie, except for you know the people that are in our same row. So it was just an awesome overall movie experience, and just yeah, great time. Definitely a 180 from how I started my day.
So before we get into your ranking, I was looking this up as you were talking. First of all, Soto, this movie was made for only $20 million. So I don't know how that ranks with other ones, but it has grossed. Now in North America, it's grossed 108, but worldwide, it has grossed $558 million, making it
Yeah,
the highest grossing, not just anime, the highest grossing Japanese film of all time. Any Japanese
it's
film.
huge. It's
20
insane.
million and it's made 558 for part one of what is ending up three. So I just want to throw that out there. Yeah, North America so 108 million, which for an anime, that ain't too bad. That's actually pretty good. I don't not gonna compare it to everything else. So yeah, you are correct. I mean, like I said, this isn't just a top anime, in Japan, this is a top movie in general. So
Yeah, I mean, think about Studio Ghibli and all those movies that have come out and all the money that those have made, and this movie blows it out of the water. And it's because it has an established fan base that has been watching this TV show for years, and now this is the culmination, and it's been a global phenomenon. It's been a hit. I'll never forget when, like, I think it was like episode 16 or 17 of the actual show. That fight in that series was one of the first anime to quote unquote break the internet. Like Twitter was like absolutely on fire with like what happened in the anime. And I remember watching that episode with Sarah and just being like, what in the fuck did I just see? Like, holy fucking balls. Like, the animation, insane. The colors, the visuals, like, straight up, just like, this is not Dragon Ball Z, right? This is
mhm.
fucking just balls to the wall, like, amazing animation. It has a huge fan. It is, again, it's huge. I don't need to sell this movie to anybody. Like, you're going to watch this Demon Slayer, but it's like, for it to make as much money as it did, and this is only the first movie of three, so it's going to make even more money as soon as like it gets even more into it. Like you have to watch the show to watch this movie, so it's not like you can just go and watch. I mean, you can, but you will just be lost on everything that has happened. So as a movie, like a movie, like you walk into this blind. I wouldn't say it's a great movie because you lose a lot of context. It does have the structure of a film, but like you're thrown into it and it's just fucking fights. And it's a whole fucking thing. So I don't know if like as a movie I can be like, okay, but I enjoyed it. I
Well,
really did. Yeah.
and that's the important thing. Yes, someone like me, if I would have went with you, I'd have been like, probably would have taken it. No, I was gonna say a nap, but Soto, this is your list,
Yeah.
and so yes, you have all this backstory, you have all this history, and I want you to
Yeah.
think about that because yes, that's how this should reflect more for you. I mean, you can put it wherever you
Yeah.
want. So, but I guess the real question is, where have you decided to put the Demon Slayer? Is it the Demon Slayer
I
or
mean,
just Demon
from
Slayer?
it's just Demon Slayer.
So no the.
Yeah.
Okay, no, just asking.
Yeah. I mean, right now, dude, it's because I love Demon Slayer, and and again, I just thought it was great. I have to put it at number 11 on my list. I do have to put it just outside the top 10, and this, of course, may change, but I'm gonna watch this movie before I watch Paddington 2 again. Like, and I don't have a problem with Paddington 2, but like, this is a movie that, like, when the trilogy comes out and it's all done, this will be like a Lord of the Rings type of thing where I'm like, okay, I put in Fellowship of the Ring. I got to watch this all the way until the end of Return of the King. Now, I don't do that in the same day anymore. I want to be very clear about that. I don't. But if Sarah puts on Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, that's like our next like couple of days, few days, because we got to watch it all the way to the end, and that's what it's going to be with Demon Slayer. I think when it's all done, and the finale happens and all the fights happen, man, I can't wait to like just be able to binge this shit and then rewatch the show, with it as well, because it's like, again, it fits in exactly with the show. Like the last episode of the TV show was like the intro to the movie. And it was just like, and my friend was like, "Oh, I wonder if they're going to do some recap." No, they didn't do any fucking recap. They fucking had a little bit of an intro to get you started with the movie, and you're like, "Oh, okay, cool." And start off quiet, and then we're fucking off and running, and it's fucking fights, and it's fucking bananas.
Damn.
But I
Oh,
wouldn't recommend it to anybody who's not a fan of it. That's all.
well, that makes sense. I
I
mean, you
think you're
gotta
gonna
be.
get, you're gonna, yeah, your mileage is like, do you like Demon Slayer? You're gonna love this.
Well, Soto, speaking about being a fan of a show and then seeing a movie, let me tell you about the last movie we're going to talk about in my second movie of the week. Um, I also saw an animated movie based on a TV show. And there's been some. This is more of a comedy, by the way. This is no serious Demon Slayer or anything like that. And, I like mindless entertainment. And a show that means Jill used to watch. We used to watch South Park, Family Guy. But we also used to watch Bob's Burgers a lot. And somehow, for some reason, they made a movie a few years ago
Yeah.
called. Now, this is nothing. We were like, okay, we should see this. We weren't rushing to the theaters, kind of see it. We're like, we can wait. We'll wait. And I kind of forgot about this movie. And on Disney Plus again, sometimes they're like, hey, free with Hulu, or thank you for Hulu. So you don't need to have a Hulu subscription to watch this. And this is how I watched a couple of these movies because, like before I saw Ready
Oh,
or
cool.
Not, I'm like, oh. So I'm like, all right. So I looked at Jill. I'm like, you want to watch this? And so we planned it. And yeah, so the other night we watched the Bob's Burgers movie. Now, so I mentioned South Park. I'm going to kind of start off comparing for a reason. When the South Park movie, Bigger, Longer, Uncut, came out, South Park, I think, was in season 2 or 3. I'm not, so they just became huge in pop culture. Everyone knew what kind of style it was. Either you loved it or you hated it. If you loved adult comedies, and then you go see the movie, and it took what you loved about the show and just added so much more. I did not expect South Park, the movie, to be a musical. They obviously went way above the R rating, with swearing. So I'm like, I love
Oh
this.
yeah.
So I'm like, they gave us something more that they couldn't do on the show. And that to me should be the point of some of these, unlike what you saw, which is the ending of the whole series. That's a little different, but I'm just saying in these 30-minute episodes, like, what are you going to do different that doesn't make it feel like I'm just watching a longer TV show? You know what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
love South
Yeah.
Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut. I can put that in any day, anytime. I'm singing the songs. I know those songs. I'm happy and I'm fine. You can put me
Yeah.
and start anywhere. I say that because, all right, so we're watching the Bob's Burgers movie, and I'm like, okay, in getting into it, they do a little opening musical number. I'm like, okay, whatever. This is kind of funny. The real problem is, Soto, I did laugh at this, but this basically felt like 3 episodes slapped together. Like basically one. This is
Oh.
nothing um, there's nothing really different, no real added. I couldn't even tell you if there's any
There
cameo
isn't like another
voices.
level.
No, there isn't.
Like there's not like that other level.
I could have
Yeah.
just turned on Fox, watch Family Guy. This turned on. This would have been like part 1 and part 2, or because I think this is only like an hour, 20, hour and a half. It's not like a long movie. It's not supposed to be. I mean, the quick premise is basically, obviously, kind of like the show. They're trying to pay their rent, but also they have to pay the bank. So they're trying to figure out how to pay both. And there's some festival going on down the street, but unfortunately, this huge sinkhole happens in front of their building, so no customers can get in.
Ah.
Some shenanigans. So you know what I mean. It is just like, but overall, like I said, I laughed because I do like Bob's Burgers. I'm not gonna. It's not my. Again, I love South Park more. I like Family Guy, but I know when I watch things like Family Guy and Bob's Burgers, I'm like, I can turn my brain off. I can just be there in the background. I'll get a few laughs, like, oh, haha. But yeah, with this, I was watching, like, what? I mean, that's all it felt like to me, Soto. It just felt like, watching 3 episodes back to back, and it didn't add anything more.
It's not bad.
And again, no, it isn't. And hence, I'm glad I did not go see this. And again, we did not plan on it. But I'm thinking, like, man, if I would have paid to go see it in the theaters, I would have been fucking pissed off. Whereas I went to see South Park in theaters. I'm like, damn, that was fucking awesome. I can't wait to see this shit again. So again, if you're a fan of Bob's Burgers, it's free. So that helped. So I'm just saying, don't expect anything more. Expect everything kind of. If you like the show, you're gonna like the movie. I mean, plain and simple. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just different shenanigans, different areas. The same side characters appear. Kind of the same things. Tina's trying to ask out Jim, but so it's basically everything they kind of done in the show, just in a 90-minute format. So I don't want to say I was disappointed. I kind of just wanted them to do something. I even say the same thing about the Simpsons movie. I didn't. Yeah, they left Springfield a little bit, but overall, it's like, outside of Spider Pig, I don't really remember anything from the Simpsons movie. Because I just felt like that was just a longer show. But yeah.
Or like, what about Beavis and Butthead Do America? Right. But
see,
that's
but what did they do different? They took them away from basically, because at that time, there wasn't much of skits. There's very few. They added Bruce Willis and Demi Moore. I think then they both. I know Bruce Willis and Demi Moore. So they added voices. They couldn't just sit on the couch and make fun of music videos. They're like, okay, we need to expand and do like some kind of adventure.
Take it to another level.
Now the humor is pretty much the same, which is fine. Again, that's you don't want to alienate your fans. And again, I do love Beavis and Butthead. It's been a while since I watched anything of theirs, and I remember enjoying the movie. I've only probably seen it a couple times. I didn't hate it. Funny story. Since you brought it up, my very first Blockbuster I worked at was in Illinois, and the very first time I ever did inventory for a Blockbuster, Beavis and Butthead VHS, Beavis and Butthead Do America, I pulled it back to scan the thing, and lo and behold, there was a condom behind it, not in the wrapper, out of the wrapper. I don't think it was used, and I'm like, welcome to Mundaland, people. So I that's how I always remember Beavis and Butthead Do America. But again, they did something different than the show, and that's the point. You need to kind of do, and like I said, South Park made it R. Like they wanted it to be PG-13. They said, no, we're doing it R. And this is before Trey and Matt were huge, again, because I think it was season 2. It was very early. And they stuck to their guns and they were right. And the fact that it was great. I didn't even expect a musical. And like I said, I can go singing those songs. I've played that at so many Blockbusters before we opened or during inventories just to listen to the music. I'm like, I love this. But I'm
pretty sure Trey Parker was like a major in music. In college, and I think he was a major in Japanese and music or some shit like that. Because he has Cannibal the Musical, which I love, and Cannibal the Musical has so many great fucking moments in that as well. So,
did you?
But I digress.
No, we'll digress a little more. Did you ever see the concert that Matt and Trey put on a few years ago. I think it might have been close to like 2021 because it was kind of right after COVID. Like they perform all these South Park songs on stage.
Wow.
Oh, it's hilarious because you know why? Here's why: because they have, and he's playing hence the musical thing. Because obviously he's also, I think Matt's playing the drums. I think Trey, so they're playing other instruments. But the funniest part about all this, because they also have some background singers, and they're dressed in like the Colorado, winter getup, and they're just all these females, and they do. Kyle's mom is a bitch, in this. And if anyone that remembers this from the movie, they go and do other languages, and to see these women, these background singers doing that, me and Jill watched that a couple times. Like, if you can find it, and you got time, even if it's just parts of it, it is hilarious. But they put on a concert. It was great. But anyhow, Bob's Burgers, you're if you've seen the TV show, you're gonna get in the same shenanigans as the movie, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ranking this,
it's got to be better than the Ron Clark story, or it's got to be worse than the Ron Clark story, right?
You know what's funny, Soto?
Soto,
story. I had, dude, this is hilarious. I put this, I'm looking at this right now, and I was about to say, I'm putting this at number 45, right underneath Escape Room, right above the Ron Clark story. I shit you not. I wish I could show, like, I'm typing this in, because I got to do my screenshots. Because, okay, I kind of was looking down, and let me quit. I was looking at 50s and like Nintendo Quest. I'm like, no, this was, and then I'm like Bill and Ted. I'm like, yeah, it's wrong. And then I see Escape Room. I'm like, well, Escape Room kind of cheesy. It gave me something different, and that's when I'm like, this feels right. Now again, this might, I think this is number 83 for me, and a couple I'll be at 85. So I might have to revisit soon. Like I said, maybe I didn't know I said 80. I think I miscounted. I might have to like a 90 do before my final 10. Or not my final 10 because we gotta get to 200. But anyhow, Bob's Burgers 45. If you love the show, you'll love the movie. It's just not going to give you anything more, and I'll leave it at that. So,
solid review.
But Soto, that's it. 4 movies. We're done. Do you know?
Feels good.
Do you know of any movies you might be watching this weekend or for next week's podcast?
Oh, I'll be watching Superman this Saturday morning. That will be my Saturday morning cartoon. Superman has been told to me that it is the Barbie for men. So I'm gonna watch Superman.
Which Superman? Like the 2025 one?
The new one, yeah.
Yeah, damn. HBO Max.
Yeah, that just launched on HBO Max, and so I'll be watching that. Probably might watch Inception: The Last Key. So that'll get me to 5.
No, you saw The Last
Inception.
Key. You need to see The Red Door.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Yeah, first of all, I said Inception: The Last Key.
But I knew what you meant. Insidious. I said I caught Inception. Then I'm like, oh yeah.
I was like, is there like a sequel to Inception that I don't know? I was like,
The Last Key. It's that part is I knew what you meant. I talked to you enough where like I knew what you meant. But
Insidious. The Red Door. If I can correct myself, Insidious: The Red Door, I may see.
Mm-hmm.
There are other movies because when I have, and I will be going out to breakfast with some good friends of mine this Saturday morning. But that breakfast is at like 8:00 in the morning, so I will be back to watch a movie. And when I have this plethora of time before our Saturday podcast. It's wild what I can fit in there. I won't be Tubi, but I will at least watch Superman and maybe a second movie either before our podcast or after, or maybe even on Sunday. But I'm definitely going to get 2, maybe 3. We'll see. Superman, though, is definitely the must watch for me. Oh, and also The King on Netflix, starring Timothée Chalamet. So that's also on my radar this weekend.
Well, I will tell you one that I most likely, I haven't talked to Jill yet, but I think it comes out Friday on Peacock. And we watched the first one. No. That's coming out in theaters. That's coming out in theaters. No. That's not even until like November. No, hold on. Because that hasn't been hit theaters. But I watched the first movie. We watched earlier this year. And we were probably going to see where the second one goes. But on the September 26th, well, everyone's going to hear this later, Megan 2.0 is coming to Peacock this Friday.
You're going to watch the second one.
I think, I'm curious. I just want to see where it goes. If Jill's not interested, I'll probably watch it on my own, but it's new. And I'm like, all right. Because again, I said this is the first one. The first one had a definitive end. It was good. Like, it did not have to add anything more. But the fact that there's a second one, it's like, okay. And it's gone from basically action horror. Like, the first one's under, and this one's just action. So I don't know much about it. I just know there's a second one. I'm gonna just see. Again, that it comes out on Peacock. Now, Soto, it's funny that you mentioned Cannibal the Musical. I can't see that
Which I
yet.
love.
I've never
Fair
seen
movie,
it.
love
We've
that.
talked about this. I have to wait till October 1st because it did pop up
Why?
as I was searching for movies. The only way I can see this right now is on Tubi, and I cannot turn on Tubi to
It's
see.
on Tubi.
Yes.
Oh,
And
we'll definitely watch that as soon as the calendar turns next week because you've never seen Cannibal the
I've never
Musical. I
seen
know
it.
we've talked about it.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, technically, all right. So technically, it's also free on Pluto, which everyone has. I just don't like watching on Pluto because the ads are fucking insane.
Oh, they're bad.
And I'm just
No.
like, yeah, because it's free. I mean, not that Tubi isn't free. So yeah, I was kind of, I always have a set few. Like I start searching, like, and I'll tell you, like, I always try to the new Spider-Man movie I haven't seen. I'm like, when is that? Am I ever? Because I don't have stars, and a lot of these. Resident Evil, like Welcome to Raccoon City. I'm curious about it because it was shit, but I
God.
can't see because it hasn't been free except for on Stars. So I kind of search and I look, and like this one kind of, I think because of everything that's going on, I'm like, oh, I'm like, it's on Tubi. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, no, I gotta stick to my guns. I'm like, this is technically not the reason, because the real reason we said no Tubi is just because we've seen like Shark Side of the Moon, Sharkenstein, Sloth, all that, the real shit.
We made a
It's
promise
a pact,
that we
and
wouldn't.
it
So
should, as long as it's there in October. I do have a few Halloween
It'll be
movies that I'm saving
It's
for
Wednesday.
October. Oh yeah, I kind of tend to forget. Well, it won't be for next week. It'll have to be the week after. So yeah, but definitely, most likely, whether Jill watches it with me or not, I'll see Megan 2.0. Just because it's there. Most likely because I have to upload a few videos. It might be another Disney movie. I don't know yet. It's how I saw Incredible Journey, Inside Out 2. So we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, Megan 2.0. It's in my future one way or another, whether I get to the next week or the week after. But it's coming to Peacock on the 26th. So hey, when it's free, that's when I want to see it. So
But Doinkle, that's all I will say is but Doinkle.
I will forget that when I see Cannibal the Musical
or-
until it happens. I'm like, oh yeah,
You will not forget it because you'll hear the
I'll
main
hear it
song.
then, but
and be like,
between now and when I go to bed,
You're like-
I'm gonna forget that
you hear the
word.
main song, go, oh my god, I cannot believe that all these years of watching South Park, like the ending little jingle that they have there is like from the main song of Cannibal the Musical. Like do 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 do. Like at the end of South Park, that is the main song of Cannibal the Musical.
We'll get to that
Doinkle.
soon. It will be part of our October. I know we're gonna watch. I know
I
this is
can't
not.
wait.
I know it's not a
Can't
spooky.
wait.
It's oh Soto. I got this is no spoilers. I got some surprises that I have in store that will shock you for when we get to October. I'm just
to
gonna
be
leave it at
October.
that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not even gonna say more. I'm not even gonna say
All
if
right.
it's Tubi.
All right.
I just know, and we're gonna have discussions and lots of. Let me rephrase. You're gonna have questions, lots and lots of questions. But anyhow, that is the 200 movie challenge.
Possibly thoughts.
As we always say, if somehow you're listening to this, just comment a movie. We will watch it as long as it's free and we haven't seen it. And if you're a friend, you can suggest something. It's how we see Slaughterhouse. It's how
Please
you
do.
saw Warfare. We're getting to the end. So 46 movies left until we hit 200. So
Yeah, we're there.
We're almost
In the
there.
end game.
I will say, non-spoiler alert, our planned, because Soto doesn't know this yet, our planned Halloween movie, or if I can time it right, will be Terrifier 3. I know he knows it's coming, but now it's not a Christmas movie for us. Now that it's free on Peacock, it's our Halloween movie.
It's gonna happen.
It's
happening.
Well, I
everybody.
didn't think it was going to come free yet. I thought it was going to, because it's kind of mixed Halloween Christmas. I thought maybe, but it makes sense that they made it free. So
We have to do it.
no, we'll
Have to
time
do
it right.
It's
So
a mandate.
yeah, we'll time it right. So that will release on Halloween, but we got time, but I know me and you will watch a lot of Halloween movies. But anyhow, that was episode 32, and join us next week for episode 33, where, who knows? I think next week might be the last of No To Be September.
Mhm.
It could be. You know, we only got what, 6
Could be.
days, 5 days left. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Dude, it's next Wednesday. We're already there.
we're there. Well, I know, but when we record, we're recording these. So anyhow, just go watch some good movies, people.
Just hit play.